गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी राम संकीर्तन की जगद्गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की Thai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome you all for the Sunday Feast lecture. Okay, nice to see all of you. Gandhari Giridhar Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Okay, we'll start with the invocation verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivo Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mutiraye Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Muttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtake Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Hande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandam Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Yogeshwaram Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're going to recite verse from Canto 6, Chapter 3, verse number 12. Yama uvacha Paromadanyo jagatas sascha Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yet amsato yasya siti janma nasa Nashiyortavad yasya vashe chalokaha Yama uvacha Paromadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yet amsatosya siti janma nasha Nashoshava yotavad yasya vashe chalokaha Yama uvacha Paromadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yet amsatosya sthiti janma nasha Nashyostavad yasya vashe chalokaha. Anyone? Vacha Paromadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yedam satosya siti janma nasa Nashi otavad yasya vashe chalokaha Yama uvacha Paratmadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yasya vishvam Yedam satosya siti janma nasha Nashiyotavad yasya vashe chalokaha. Any volunteers for Mataji's? Paromadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yedam shatosha nisi janma nasa Nashiyotavad yasya tasesha lokaha. Yama uvacha Paromadanyo jagatas Otam protam patavat yatra vishvam Yedam satosya siti janma nasha Nashotvad yasya vashe chalokaha. Yama uvacha Yamaraj replied, Para, superior, Mat, than me, Anyaha, another, Jagataha, of all moving things, Tashtutasya, of non-moving things, Cha, and Otam, crosswise, protham, lengthwise, patavat, like a woven cloth, yatra, in whom, Vishwam, the cosmic manifestation, yet, of whom, Amshataha, from the partial expansions, Ashya, of this universe, Sthiti, the maintenance, Janma, the creation, Nashaha, the annihilation, Nasi, in the nose, Otavat, like the rope, Yashya, of whom, Vashe, under the control, Cha, and Lokaha, the whole creation. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yamaraj said, "My dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of a woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose." Purport. The order carriers of Yamaraj suspected that there was a ruler, even Emo Yamaraj. To eradicate their doubts, Yamaraj immediately replied, "Yes, there is one supreme controller above everything. Yamaraj is in charge of some of the moving living entities, namely the human beings, but the animals who also move are not under his control. Only human beings have consciousness of right and wrong, and among them only those who perform sinful activities come under the control of Yamaraj. Therefore, although Yamaraj is a controller, he is only a departmental controller of few living entities. There are other demigods who control many other departments, but above them all is one supreme controller, Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. The supreme controller is Krishna. Others who control their own departments in the affairs of the universe are insignificant in comparison to Krishna, supreme controller. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti Dhananjaya." My dear Dhananjaya Arjuna, no one is superior to me. Therefore, Yamaraj immediately cleared away the doubts of his assistants, the Yamathudas, by confirming that there is a supreme controller above all others. Srila Madhvacharya explains that the words Otam Protam refer to the cause of all causes. Supreme Lord is both the vertical and horizontal to the cosmic manifestation. This is confirmed by the following words from Skanda Purana. Yathakanta Pata Sutra Ota Protascha Satstaha Evam Vishnava Idam Vishwam Otam Protam Cha Samstitam. Like the two threads, horizontal and vertical, of which a quilt is manufactured, Lord Vishnu is situated as a vertical and horizontal cause of the cosmic manifestation. Om Ajnana Thimirandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utha Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Shrakjadam Shahanagalagnatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahana Lalita Sri Vishaka Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye పంచతత్వాత్మకం కృష్ణం భక్తరూపస్వరూపకం భక్తావతారం భక్త్యాఖ్యం నమామి భక్తశక్తికం వాంఛకల్పతరూభ్యశ్చ కృపా సింధుభయేవ చ పతితానాం పావనేభ్యో వైష్ణవేభ్యో నమో నమః. నమో విష్ణుపాదాయ కృష్ణప్రేష్ఠాయ భూతలే శ్రీమతే భక్తివేదాంత స్వామిన్నితే నామినే. నమస్తే సారస్వతే దేవే గౌరవాణి ప్రచారిణి నిర్విశేష శూన్యవాది పాష్తాషదేశత్తారిణి. జయ శ్రీకృష్ణ చైతన్య ప్రభో నిత్యానంద శ్రీ అద్వైత గదాధర శ్రీవాసాడి గౌరభక్తవృంద. హరే కృష్ణ 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 హరే 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 రామ 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 హరే హరే. Hare Krishna. So before I begin, I would like to take the blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas who are assembled here so that they can somehow empower my speech, so that I can speak something which is pleasing to their ears and pleasing to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as well. So we are in this 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'll just set a little bit of background. Maybe all of you, many of you may be attending the Bhagavatam classes regularly, but still if there are some people who are new here, okay, so to get a glimpse of what has happened till now, why we are here, just give you a small brief background. Okay, in the 6th canto, the 5th canto ended. So Bhagavatam has 12 cantos, so we are in the 6th canto, right in the middle, right? So in the 5th canto ended, like Sukadeva Goswami describes about the different kinds of hellish planets. So when he hears this description of the hellish planets, what kind of sufferings living entities undergo if they happen to reach such a situation, being a Vaishnava, a Raja Rishi, okay, naturally is compassionate towards all the living entities. So he wanted to know, okay, how the living entities can be prevented from, first of all, reaching there, right? So he wanted to understand so that proper actions can be taken. Being a king, it is his responsibility to take care of all his dependents, citizens, right? So he's the ruler of the entire world. So he asked this question to Sukadeva Goswami, saying, okay, how a living entity can be saved from such a calamitous situation. So Sukadeva Goswami actually, he actually did not answer the question directly. He was testing Parikshit Maharaj because he has heard 5 cantos. Spiritual masters, role of spiritual masters to test the progress of a disciple as well. So he said, okay, in Dharma Shastras and Manu Samhita, it is described based on the severity of the sinful actions committed. There are prescribed prayachittas, like sacrificial performances, which will allow one to counteract the sins. So he gave this answer. Parikshit Maharaj, being a very, very, very advanced and very, very devotee, and as well as very sharp because of his strong connection with the Supreme Lord, he could understand this is not the correct, real answer. So okay, he didn't accept it. So he asked Sukadeva Goswami, being a king, he actually has seen, okay, because king has to render justice to the citizens. If there are some adharmic activities, king has to ensure that people who committed those adharmic activities are punished. So he says, okay, but in the past I have seen, personal experiences I have heard or seen, like people who commit sinful activities, even though they know that by doing that they will get punished, okay, or they themselves have seen others undergoing punishment, or they themselves have got punished because of sinful activity, yet I don't see reformation in their heart because of just putting them in jail, giving them some beatings. Okay, we have seen, okay, they are not changed. The heart has not changed at all. They come back outside and do the same thing again, and they may influence others as well. Okay, or in the jail, okay, all the criminals together, what they will do? They plan for more criminal activity, right? So it doesn't work. It looks like it doesn't work. So he wants more clarification from the spiritual master. So this is nice relationship between spiritual master and their disciple. It's not like if clarification is required, the disciple asks for more clarification from the spiritual master. Says, okay, doesn't seems to match with the overall theme of Bhagavatam as well. Because Bhagavatam, what is prescribed? Dharma projita karitam matra paramo nirmat saranam satam. It is preaching the highest form of religious duties, right? Which is the savai pumso parodharma yatho bhakti radoksaji, the devotional service. But here Sukadeva Goswami answered like, okay, do prayachitta. So it doesn't fit with the theme of Bhagavatam. And a devotee, like Parikshit Maharaj, understands this and he asks, okay, doesn't. And Sukadeva Goswami becomes very happy and he says, yes, actually only less intelligent people, they go behind this prayachitta. Actually, like even though it is recommended in Vedas, that prayachitta is a way to counteract the sinful activity, but what happens is like the tendency to commit, the heart is not pure, and doing prayachitta, the heart doesn't get purified. It is just the external, like reactions are getting nullified. It's just like when you want to, when we are growing crops or like in the field, agricultural field, no, like all the unwanted other creepers and everything grows. Unless we completely remove it from the root, right? It is not with the root itself, like it, otherwise like it doesn't work. Otherwise, just trimming all these like decoration doesn't work. So this sinful like prayachitta is just like a decoration. Just trim it, then once again it will grow up again. Right? So he says like, so these are only for less intelligent people. Actually, one who understands the real purpose or real religious duty, he will engage in this process of devotional service. So in this connection, then he starts narrating this pastime of Ajamil, how people can be saved from going to hellish condition. Not only that, they get the much more highest benefit of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is? Through the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord. So this is the crux, this part is the crux of our devotional service, like chanting the holy name. The glorification of holy name comes in these chapters. And then he starts narrating this pastime of Ajamil. So the Ajamil, like he was a young Brahmana, okay, practicing devotional service, very in a regulated way, like Sadhaka Bhakta. So he was following all those, he was worshipping the Lord. But due to unwanted association, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right, even if one of the senses is roaming, and if on that sense, if the mind focuses, then it leads to, what happens? Attachment. Any one mind focuses upon, any of the one sense objects, the mind focuses upon, what happens? Kama Yesha, right? We develop attachment to that. When the Kama gets satisfied, still we go to Lobha, we want more. It's not just like, okay, we're satisfied with what we get. If it doesn't get satisfied, then we go to Krodha. We get angry, frustrated, okay, all those things. So Kama leads to Krodha or Lobha. And it says Kama leads to, what happens? Intense attachment leads to loss of discrimination. We don't know what is right, what is wrong to do. This loss of discrimination leads to the memory gets bewildered, intelligence gets bewildered. Then what happens? We once again start using our senses in sense gratification. That in turn leads to loss of determination. When somebody is engaged in over sense gratification, what happens? There is loss of determination to understand what is the absolute truth. Then when there is loss of determination, what happens? It leads to fall down, which is the case with Ajamil. Just one of his senses, he saw a lady and a man embracing each other in public place. Okay, and what happened is he started meditating on that. Even though he was practicing and he was trying to control it, okay, using his regulated way of life, but yet his mind was constantly dwelling on the sense object. So attachment started growing. What happened then? He started inviting her and he made her a servant maid in his house. More closer. Okay. So then he started having family with her. Then he ignored his original family, his bona fide, like regular way. There was Vedic samskara, wedding, all those things. He gave up that wife. He neglected his parents, taking care of parents. He started living with this lady, having child with her. And then since he lost all his Brahmanical qualification because of his loss of discrimination, and he was also not determined at all because of his attachment. And what happened? He was then he has to make money hook and crook, and he has to sell whatever opulence he had, riches he had, to maintain that lady and the children. So like that, he was living a life of sinful life, basically. Then towards the end of his life, it said, he was very old, but yet he had only 3-year-old son. Okay, he had 10 sons. The youngest son's name was Narayana. So he was very attached to him, because a small child in the house will be attached to them, their playful activities and all those things. So, but he was always constantly calling his son's name Narayana, 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 like that. So, but he became sick and he was on his deathbed. And in his deathbed, he started seeing some very, very inauspicious signs. He started becoming restless. In medical science, it is called terminal restlessness. Okay, there are some people, when they are about to die, they go through this very restless condition. Most of us as well, Prabhupada also says, okay, our body is in a very disoriented condition when we are about to die because of pain and all those things. So it's very, very tough situation. It's like 1,000 scorpions biting. So he was in a very, and also he started seeing all these very, very this very ugly looking creatures. Okay, 3 of them. Okay, they were just floating around the areas around his bed. And he became very, 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 very afraid. He didn't know what to do. Naturally, he said, no, what we are attached to, yammam vapis paran bhavam tajhatyanta kalaivaram, whatever we remember, whatever we are attached to, or whatever we remember, we get a life according to our desires. Okay. So here, since he is attached to his young son, so out of anxiety, he started calling out his son who was playing nearby, calling out Narayana, Narayana. Okay. They immediately 4 very, very beautiful, exact polar opposite of whatever these 3, okay, very beautiful personalities with golden complexion. They resembled exactly like Vishnu, except they didn't have the Kaustubha jewel and the chakra, Sudarshana. Otherwise, they pretty much resemble the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very beautiful to look at. They came and they stopped this Yamatudas. They asked certain questions. Why have you come to arrest him? What offense he has committed? What sinful activity he has committed? You are coming to. Do you know what is dharma? Do you know what is the eligibility of someone to take to hellish planets? First answer those questions and then you can arrest him. So it's very wonderful. These Yamatudas, even though they are ugly looking, all those things, they had very, very deep knowledge of Shastras as well. Okay, they said, okay, what is dharma? I don't know how many people in Kali Yuga can answer this. Okay, they asked dharma, what is dharma? This is, okay, dharma is something which has been given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is aparushaya. Whatever spoken by the Supreme Personality, that is dharma, which existed eternally, because the Lord exists eternally and it came from the breathing of the Supreme Person. So, it is eternal. So, this is dharma. And this Ajamil, then they described why he is qualified to be taken to hellish planet, because he lived a life of sense gratification against the rules and regulations prescribed in the Shastras. So, and they narrated whatever the activities he performed, and there was a big, nice conversation. Prabhupada actually liked this very much. He wrote a book, small book called Second Chance, just covering these first 3-4 chapters. So then they spoke, this is dharma, so that's why he's a fit candidate to be taken to Yamaloka. Then Vasudeva said, oh, what kind of world we are living in? Okay, a pure sinless person now is getting arrested and taken for punishment. If the king, who is meant to protect the citizens, he himself acts impiously, then how the citizens can live peacefully? That's the question they raised. Okay, they said this Ajamil actually sinless person. Yet Yamaraj and his servants are doing a very big offense of arresting him and taking to Yamaloka or for punishment. Okay? So you don't even know what is right action, what is wrong. Okay, you don't even know this Ajamil is actually sinless because any time he chanted the name of Narayana, because every day he was chanting the name of the Lord. So even once somebody chants without any offense, then the holy name is so powerful enough, it can destroy all the offenses which you have committed in the past or which you are going to commit in the future. At the same time, of course, Ajamil has been accepted. Ajamil did not chant the name of the Lord offenselessly, but he didn't chant it with offense as well, because one of the offense is chanting the holy name with an intention that it will counteract their sinful actions. Namnat baladi yashi papa buddhi. Okay, I will commit sinful actions, but by chanting holy name, it will get neutralized. Okay, that is an offense. But here Ajamil chanted, it is called Sanketa Namabhas. Like there are 3 levels of chanting. First is Nama Aparat stage, where we commit offense. There are 10 offenses, all those things. And second stage, Haridasa describes as Nama Abha stage, which is just like a clearing stage. Okay, just on the path to offenseless chanting. The third stage is that Shuddhana. And in the offenseless stage, there are many categories. And one of the categories is chanting the name without even realizing, without even like intentionally chanting. Okay, in this case, Ajamil chanted not to connect with the Supreme Lord, but rather he chanted his name of his son. So it's called Sankhya, like, okay, just like that. Some people may chant, even make fun of when you go on Kirtan, at least in Western countries, people who are not aware. They also imitate the devotees, chanting, dancing, okay, imitating, making fun, okay. Even now it has happened in India as well, okay, is happening, okay. So even then it is said, the chanting of the holy name bestows this benediction of clearing away all the sinful actions. So since he was chanting this holy name throughout his life, and essentially there's no sinful reactions for him. So there is no cause for you to arrest him and take him to hellish planets or to punish him. There is no section in the IPC penal code or Yamaraj penal code like you can take him and arrest him and do anything. Okay? On what basis you are going to do it? And pretty much they have the news. Okay, when Yamaraj and his servants has this news, they will drag the soul and the subtle body from the heart, and they will take to Yamaraj abode for the gross body will remain here, which will burn it or bury it, but the subtle body with the soul will go to the Yamaloka to receive the punishment. And based on the punishment, we will get a suitable body to suffer that punishment. So this is what happened. And he was taken, they were ready to take it, but Vishnudas came and cut the noose and said, he cannot be arrested. And Yamatodas were like pretty much, they did not have any authority or they didn't have any power to stop this Vishnutudas from doing whatever they are doing. And they were so much frustrated and angry because they came to do their job and they said, okay, they have all the list of sections under which can be booked and taken and arrested and punished. But this Vishnutudas came from somewhere, okay, and then they just said, okay, you cannot do it. So after that what happened, then Ajamil understood, the conversation was happening between Yamatudas, Vishnutudas, Ajamil understood what happened and he actually wanted to express his gratitude to Vishnutudas too for saving him, but they just vanished. They were not waiting there to receive his gratitude and prayers and all those things. They came, they did their service, they left. They were not waiting for any appreciation. It was a service on behalf of Supreme Person, they came, did and went. So Ajamil then understood, okay, what did I do? I was born in a nice Brahminical culture. I was following all the sadhanas required to progress in spiritual life. Yet because of my unrestricted sense enjoyment, okay, I'm here. So he decided, he got a second chance. Okay, he decided he must give up this. So he went to Haridwar he continued his devotional service to Lord Vishnu. Then towards the end of his life, when he is remembering Lord Vishnu, then the same Vishnu Dudas, the four people who came to save him, four personalities, they came and took him back. So this happened on one side. The other side, Yamatudas, they went to Yamaraj. Okay? And before they went to Yamaraj and complained, now he ended it like Sukadeva Goswami ended second chapter saying, okay, Ajamil went back to Godhead by chanting the holy name. He achieved perfection. First he was saved, and after that he practiced it with an intention to please the Supreme Lord and the devotees of the Supreme Lord. He served in a holy dham like Haridwar, serving the devotees. He lived a life of devotion, and then he got the fruit of going back to Godhead. Sukadeva Goswami ended there. But Parikshit Maharaj is very wonderful in churning the nectar. He does not go a topic, remain go for a full stop. Okay, he want to hear the glorification of the holy name more and more. Glorification of the Supreme Lord. So he started churning the topic further. He said, okay, how is it the orders of Yamaraj has been violated? I have never heard of it in the past. Somebody who is so strong enough to challenge the authority of Yamaraj. It is so wonderful. And now if this kind of thing happens, how people is going to have faith in Dharma, right? Or in the authority of Yamaraj. If the person who is supposed to who is running the justice system, if he arrests and somebody comes because he is related to the politician and says, okay, he should be released because he is related to me, then what kind of, this is happening in this world, right? People who are wealthy, who are powerful in different ways, and people who want to lead a very honest government officers, they are the ones who get frustrated saying, okay, I try to follow the system, then suddenly these powerful people come and they use this way to circumvent the system, and then they get them released before even getting arrested. Okay, what is this? Okay, then they get frustrated. So similarly, like Yamaduta is also feeling like that. Okay, we follow the system, then certainly there's one parallel system is running. This is usually happen in a banana republic. Okay, where there's no rules and regulations. Okay, anything can happen anytime. Okay, not in a place where it is governed by a Vedas, right? Vedic Dharma, and that Vedas, the system has been installed by Supreme Person. It means his own system is violating it, right? So you're saying, okay, how it is possible? I'm curious to know what did Yamaraj replied back? How did he react to the situation? So then Sukadeva Goswami starts describing Yamatodas meeting Yamaraj and complaining about what is happening. So Yamatodas goes there and they complain to Yamaraj saying, okay, this is what has happened. Okay, they also narrated what happened, how they were prevented from arresting Ajamil, and they told what kind of this is. Okay, if there are multiple judges, okay, if one judge punishes saying he should be punished, other judge comes and said no, he should be released. So either case they get neutralized each other. So it means the person who has to be punished doesn't get punished, or person who has to be rewarded also may get not rewarded. Because somebody says reward him and somebody says punish him, so both things cancel out, nothing happens. Okay? Or otherwise one may punish, one may not. If they don't neutralize each other, it means he will receive both the punishment and reward as well. Right? So he's saying, okay, what kind of system is this? It looks like this is not a perfect system. And it looks like, okay, we always thought Yamaraj, you are actually as good as Lord Brahma himself, your position. And you are as good as even the Paramatma himself, because to do a duty of Yamaraj, it is not ordinary, right? Because to punish someone and to justly punish, okay, we cannot be just like our judges, okay, based on two arguments of the lawyers and he decides, okay, what needs to be done. Rather, the punishment, Prabhupada also writes in the purport saying, okay, they want to commit suicide as well. Because their satisfaction is doing this service. And if that service is impeded, you say, what is the use of doing this? And it is said in Garuda Purana how one becomes a Yamatodas, right? So the living entities which are very sinful, okay, and they went and they suffer for long duration of time in the hellish planets. And there were no descendants to actually deliver them. Basically, like we do this Shraddh ceremony and all those ceremonies for the departed souls, for the purpose of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even that leaf, we call Brahmanas, they do some yagya, puja and everything. And then finally the Brahmanas are fed Vishnu Prasadam. That leaf is specifically, there is one leaf which is kept, which all the different varieties of prasadam is served. Then they are offered to Brahmanas, so that when the Brahmanas are satisfied, the Lord is satisfied. Because Krishna is Namo Brahmane Theja, is satisfied in the Brahmanas who follow the Vedic culture. I am not talking about the caste Brahmanas, I am talking about the Brahmanas who are qualified Brahmanas. So, this is what the purpose is. But if there is no descendant to actually deliver, or no descendant who is pleasing the Supreme Lord, who is doing activities to please the Supreme Lord, it means those people, those personalities, okay, who are suffering there, after many long duration of time, they get to become the associate of Yamaraj, because he is a Mahajana. He is one of the 12 Mahajanas, right, like a devotee of the Lord, or authorities. So they get to serve a devotee, okay, acting, but it's a very hard job, right, like you have to be very hard-hearted to do this kind of work, to go on arrest and suffer, make them beat, and it's not for a soft-hearted person, okay, we cannot do that, right, it's not very easy. You have to be very hard-hearted, because the Yamadutas are trained to be like that, because they underwent so much of punishment. They are immune to suffering of others, right? So they were engaged in the service of Yamaraj, and they became Yamatudas, right? So when the service of punishing is impeded, okay, they were very disappointed and they were questioning, okay, Yamaraj. So this is where it's wonderful. We read in Mahabharata, Mahajano ena katasha pantaha, right? We have to follow in the footsteps of these Mahajanas. Now Yamaraj is showing us why he is a Mahajan. The way he answers the Yamathudas, okay, and his internal mood is very beautiful, okay. Here, like Sukadeva Goswami explains, Yamaraj was actually very pleased when he heard Yamathudas, when they described the beautiful interaction that happened with Vishnutudas and Yamathudas. And he said, okay, when they chanted, they said when Ajamil chanted Narayana, they all appeared and they said, do not fear, and they saved them. When they said the name of Narayana, immediately his mind, Yamaraj's mind went remembering the lotus feet of the Lord. When he remembered the lotus feet of the Lord, and he was very pleased. In a way, he was pleased with the Yamathudas that finally they got an opportunity to meet pure devotees. Of course, they were serving him, he's also pure devotee. And also, like, they get the chance to chant the holy name of the Lord. So, he was very pleased. At the same time, he was also a little bit displeased on himself, because he did not properly instruct his servants in clearly discriminating who needs to be punished, who not. Okay, not a person who chants the holy name has to be brought to Yamaloka. Okay, one who was engaged in chanting the holy name. So he was also considering himself to be a culprit, saying, okay, he didn't properly train them to arrest the right set of people. So they kind of considered him the offenders because they questioned the authority of Vishnutudas, and also this internal mood of Yamathudas were like, okay, the Vishnutudas should also be punished. If Yamaraj is so powerful, they actually wanted to bring them to Yamaloka and to punish them. Okay, the all Vishnu Chakravarti writes in his purports. So this is mode, and Yamaraj says, he took a very humble position, being in such a superior authority of enforcing the universal law system. Yet Yamaraj took a very humble position, saying, okay, actually I am not the Supreme Lord, I am not the Supreme Controller. Actually, I am not even controlling all the living entities as well. Even animals don't come under my domain, because they don't have any karma, any sins. Even among the living entities which can move and who have the intelligence to discriminate right or wrong, only those living entities who have committed sinful actions actually come, I have dominion over them. I have the right to decide what is the punishment, not for everyone. So my department is very small. It's not like my department is huge. So I am not the controller. It's actually Otam Protam. He talks about this Otam Protam, Madhvacharya calls, like this is the cause of all causes. And we use a different, we quote from different words. We source Isha Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha. So to say like Krishna is the cause of all causes, right? So he says like Supreme Lord is the cause. Now the internal mode, the platform from which Yamaraj is acting is, his internal mode is, he didn't act on the platform of Ahankara. Somebody questioned my authority, even though I am this. He didn't go there at all. Rather, he acted from the platform of, his identity is, I am just a servant of the Supreme Lord. That was his identity, okay? I am not, and my service to Supreme Lord is not only like to please him and his followers. And my duty is also not only to serve the superiors, but also be of some service to people who are looking up to me. This is Yamathudas. It is my duty, my responsibility actually, even though he is superior to them. He was insulted from both the directions. Vishnududas insulted him, saying, okay, basically Yamathudas came to us, he said, okay, you don't know what is rules, or what is dharma. So it means like indirectly they said, okay, Yamaraj didn't teach you, so you are not fit for this job, you should be fired from the job, okay. Rather like, so he was insulted, his authority and his law system was questioned. And from bottom also, typically like mid-level managers face this, no? Top level also, they'll push, bottom also. People who report also will say, okay, what kind of manager are you? Just passing the information, you're like a postman. Whatever the management says, you're saying. Right? And if you say, take the complaints of our employees to the management, say, oh, you are not able to even resolve this. Okay, why you are remaining a manager, right? So it's like that, right? But he's got insulted, both the directions. Yamathuda's question, okay, what kind of master, why should we work for you? It looks like I don't see any value in working for you, right? And on the top also. But how did he react? Without any anger, Prabhupada writes, okay, Yamaraj was very pleased. And he was, a person can react such way because only if he's situated in his eternal identity as a servant of the Lord, and his mind is always immersed in how I can be of some service to others. So here he was having this intense desire that, okay, finally these Yamathudas, after so many lives of suffering, and they become my servants, now finally they have come to the realization, understood, okay, I am not the Supreme, and they are asking about who is Supreme. So it is my duty to explain to them. And this is not the first time Yamaraj is acting on this platform. Even in Ramayana, in Uttarakanda, it is described. Where Ravana became very powerful because of boons from Brahma, he goes conquering all the kingdoms, ruled by different kings. And finally, Narada Muni meets Ravana. He says to Ravana, like Narada Muni says to Ravana, hey, what are you doing? Okay, you're so powerful. These kings are like just mosquitoes in front of you. Okay? You're just going on killing some mosquitoes and causing trouble to them. Okay, they are no match to you. Okay, why are you doing this? Okay, there is no way they can conquer you. There is no human being born yet to oppose you. Don't do this. Okay. He immediately understood, okay, saying, okay, fine, okay, I should not, okay, correct, these are not like worthy enough for my valor. He said, okay, let me go to Yamaraj then, okay, I'll go and conquer him. Then he decides to go to conquering all the demigods. He starts with Yamaraj, he goes there, and he says, oh, I'll go to Yamaraj. Immediately Narada Muni says, oh, what is the guy doing? He's going to oppose Yamaraj. So he wants to give them prior information to Yamaraj that Ravana is going to come. So he goes to Yamaloka, the abode of Yamaraj, and says, okay, listen, like Ravana is going to come to challenge you to fight. Okay, so I just came to give you information, okay, prior information. Be prepared for it. So as they were talking, And Yamaraj says, okay, let him come, let me fight with him. Okay, as he was telling, Yamaraj comes to the abode of, Ravana comes to the abode of Yamadharmaraj. And then what happens? He sees all these living entities undergoing punishments. And he becomes compassionate towards them. These living entities. Because like he is one of the kind, no? So he knows, okay, I have to go through the same thing. Okay, if I get killed or something, right? So he started releasing all of them. All the criminals join my team. All right? All the criminals can join my team, kind of. Like he says, I'm just making it little bit jovial, but it was more serious there. So he released them. Okay. So, and then when Yamadutas saw this, they started challenging Ravana and they started attacking, and Ravana defeated them, and he made a big roar, Ravana and his army. And Yamaraj got to know, okay, Ravana is here and he is victorious over his servants. So he decides to go. It is described they fought for 7 days. Okay, both are equal, not able to match each other. Finally, Mrityu, the death personified, came to Yamaraj and said, please give me permission, I will go and kill him. But Yamaraj said, no, I will take care of it. So what he did, he had many weapons, or one of his weapons is rod of death. Okay, noose and all those things he has. One of these weapons is rod of death. Nobody has challenged it till now, till that point in time. So he decided to use it against Yamaraj. Then when he decides to rise it and use it, immediately Lord Brahma comes there. And he's invisible. Okay, it's only Yamaraj could see. And he says, don't use it. Because the rod of death cannot be used just like that. It causes a huge, not only Ravana gets killed, but it creates a huge trail of destruction on its path. It includes your soldiers and Ravana's soldiers as well. And also I have given a boon to him, saying, okay, you cannot be killed certain ways. So it means my boon will not be fulfilled. And being a universal administrator of all the complete in charge of all the demigods, he is the supreme authority. Then my words will become it become untrue, right? It's not like my boon will not come. And also this rod of death has been created by me to you, and it will not fail. So I have given a boon to Ravana, you will not be killed by certain means. And if you pass this rod of death, then it has to kill. If it doesn't kill, it means whatever I did to fashion this rod of death, then that will not come true. Okay, then either way, my words will not work out. Okay, it will become untrue. So you please don't use it. So now Yamadharmaraj has only one choice to make, right? He has no other choice. Okay, if he doesn't use it, what is the point of fighting with Ravana? Right? The fight is going to keep going on. Again, he's going to kill it or something. So Yamaraj, giving up his ego, in the sense he doesn't have it. He didn't act from the egoistic platform saying, okay, when a superior comes and asks him, don't do it. Even though he has to accept defeat, basically he has to leave the battlefield and go. He has to leave the battlefield and go. It means he's like a coward. Ravana will consider this guy is a coward, he ran away from the battlefield. Yet, his mood is, I am a servant of the Lord. When Lord Brahma comes and tells me he is my superior, he requests me not to do it, it doesn't matter whether my authority is challenged or not. The most important thing is, my superior has to be pleased. His authority should not be challenged, not my authority. It is not like what I do is service, okay? Whatever I do for the pleasure of my superiors, that is devotional service, right? So he says, he says, okay, I will not use it, and he just disappears from the battlefield. Ravana thinks, this guy ran away from the battlefield, not able to fight me. And he said, oh, I conquered Yama, and then he goes. This is the real mode of a Mahajana. Their mode is of always serving the superiors and what pleases the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Not only that, even people who look up to them, they want to live a life of service to them. It's just not like, okay, they exploit them for doing their service. Rather, they always say, meditate, how I can be of some help even to people who are subordinate to me so that they can progress in their Krishna consciousness. So the life is always dedicated to the welfare of others. On the other hand, if you see the mood of Yamathudas, right? Many a times, like in this world, if we are not powerful, our identity comes from we want to associate with someone who is powerful. Okay, you want to have some friends in the big political circles and wealthy circles, all those things. They are powerful just by being behind them. You will find in all these posters, no? You will get 40, 50 pictures. You don't see all small. Even the main person's picture will be small. This person who is sponsoring that poster, that person's picture will be very big. Because we always want to associate ourselves with the powerful person. So, Yamathudas derived great satisfaction being a powerful servant of Yamaraj. That was their mood. That nobody challenges us. Okay? So my identity comes from somebody superior to me. It is good, like if our identity comes from like a very high spiritual personality, I am a servant, that is a good mood. And I do this to please him. But in this case, most of the times, like our identity comes from we being powerful in some way or being associated with someone powerful. That was this mood of Yamathudas, right? So here, Yamaraj is trying to rectify that, saying that mood is like, our mood is that of Dasa. Like our mood is not like we are powerful, so we have ultimate authority over everyone else. Rather, our mood is actually to serve the Supreme Lord. And this is what Srila Rupa Goswami defines bhakti to be. What is bhakti? He defines bhakti as Anna Bilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Denarvitam Anukullena Krishna Anusilanam Bhaktir Uttama. He specifically describes as Anushilanam, Krishna Anusilanam. Those recently I heard in a lecture, this Shilanam, and it was, the commentary was written by Jiva Goswami. Jiva Goswami being a student of Rupa Goswami, he gives the most perfect definition of what it means. He said it has two parts. One part is the external things we do using our legs and senses and legs and hands and all those things, like offering arati, worshipping, all those things. The second meaning is when we do all these things, we do it with what? Attached to what? Attached to our mind, attached to, or our consciousness attached to remembering the Lord. Okay, that's why Srila Prabhupada named our organization of, my spiritual master commonly used to say, our society is not International Society for Behavioral Modification. Oh, we put dhoti, tilak, this and that, and like act in a certain way. Okay, it's not, our society is not behavioral modification society. Our society is International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Whatever service we do, what is the consciousness behind that service? To please Guru and Krishna. And we can see Srila Prabhupada was acting on that platform all the time. One time, Srila Prabhupada, some conversation was happening, okay, and his disciples, something was happening, Prabhupada says, okay, I never fall down to Maya. I never fall into the trap of Maya. When people heard it, the devotees heard it, they became, Haribo, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, they said. Prabhupada was so convinced, he said, I don't fall to Maya, in the trap of Maya. Then the next day, Srila Prabhupada actually went, after the morning walk and all thing, he came to greet the deities. He was paying obeisance to each deities, okay, and he was murmuring some prayers. Nobody could hear it, but everybody could see like his lips were moving, murmuring some prayers. It is nice, no, like to know the prayers of advanced devotees, what they pray, so that we can also imitate at least those prayers, right? Rather than we offering our own prayers, we don't know what even to ask. When we hear like such personalities offer prayers, okay, we also can also inspire to offer. So, His Grace Harisauri Prabhu, it is there in Prabhupada's Transcendental Diaries by His Grace Harisauri Prabhu. When he was serving Prabhupada later in the day, he asked Srila Prabhupada, so what were the prayers you were murmuring something? Okay, I couldn't hear it, but I would like to know what you were saying. Prabhupada said, I was just praying to Krishna. I don't fall into the traps of Maya. He was so surprised. Prabhupada, yesterday only you told you never fall into the traps of Maya. Today you're saying you're praying to Krishna that you don't fall into the traps of Maya. Prabhupada said, yes, now you know what is the answer. Why I don't fall. It's because Prabhupada was always, he was not depending on his own strength. He says he's depending on his strength of his spiritual master, his mercy. And he was always praying to the Lord that he remains intensely attached to his lotus feet. So this is exactly the prayers of Parikshit Maharaj as well. Parikshit Maharaj also says he offers 3 prayers. One, I need to be intensely attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. Second, intensely attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. Third prayer is, and I want to be always in the association of the devotees of the Lord. That is the second prayer. The third prayer is, I always want to be a friend of all living entities. So bhakti involves our own progress as well as considering the Shilanam, the word Rupa Goswami gave. It's not only about we intensely observed in remembering the Lord, but we also help other living entities remember or understand the glories of the Lord. Exactly what Yamaraj is doing here. He is intensely absorbed, always absorbed in the thoughts of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's also wanted his subordinates to actually know the glories of the Lord. So devotee it's not 1 without 2 and 3. It's not 3 alone without 1 and 2. So it's all put together. And this is the consistent theme of the Mahajanas who we talk about. They want to be intensely attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, and they want to be in the association of the devotees of the Lord. And third is, they wanted to be of some service to all the living entities in relation to 1 and 2. Okay. So I would say this is the overall lot of appreciation of Yamaraj happens. Okay, we mostly Yamaraj is, because of his job profile, people are very afraid of him. Okay, he is described as, okay, people are very afraid, run away. But in Bhagavatam, we get to hear the inner mood of a devotee. And when we see, right, it's very easy, like Yamatodas could easily appreciate or understand the opulence of Yamaraj being the universal administrator. It's very easy to observe that, he's so powerful. And sometimes, like, okay, when somebody asks us about our spiritual master, it is very easy for us to describe the accomplishments of our founder Acharya, accomplishments of our spiritual master. It easily comes, okay, Prabhupada wrote so many books, Prabhupada traveled so many times, he gave so many lectures, he wrote so many letters, so this, that, all these things we can just think. But how much we are attached, so Prabhupada has written so many books, how much we are attached to reading those books. That's where we understand the inner mood of an Acharya, right? Like when we don't read, we don't hear from our spiritual master, how do we understand the inner mood of an Acharya? Appreciating the qualities is not easy for any of us, like most of us at least, right? But this is what Yamaraj is teaching, okay? Just go and look at the external. Accomplishments is something is very nice, okay? Prabhupada accomplished so many things, so many temples, so many disciples he had, spread Krishna consciousness all over. It's great. We have to appreciate and we have to glorify those things. But let's not stop there. Behind those accomplishments is there the inner mood of an Acharya, of how he is so dedicated to carrying out the mission of his Guru. And behind that is mood of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he puts himself in a vulnerable position. At 70 years of age, he could have stayed in Vrindavana. Rather, he took this great risk of going to the Western country with no money, no sponsor. In spite of this, okay, his inner mood, this qualities comes out when we read these purports, and how, when we read these purports, how Prabhupada glorifies Yamaraj. We can see, okay, how Srila Prabhupada also embodies all these qualities of these Mahajanas. Or our spiritual master himself embodies all these qualities. So it's nice for us to go much deeper than the accomplishment aspect, rather go deeper behind this accomplishment. There is sweetness, there is a great quality in them, which makes them very dear to Krishna. And when we try to access that quality, then what happens? Krishna also blesses us with more realizations of those qualities, appreciations in terms of glorifying the spiritual master, right? So these are the of the, I would say, key learnings. Okay, rather than identify ourselves with externalities, rather identify, go deeper. We have to go deeper and try to access the heart of the Acharya. When we read Srila Prabhupada's book, actually Srila Prabhupada is actually sitting in front of us and talking to us. This is a personal quantification. At least I don't have the experience, but what I've seen is like, okay, when great personalities talk about it, right? Like Srila Prabhupada says, I read my own books because it's not written by me, because it has all been given by Krishna himself. So it means there is a one-on-one happening. Okay, this is just not a book. Bhagavatam is literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As per Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, this is the Samman Bonam. This is the only literature, the Samman Bonam, it describes everything. Everything is there. It's a natural commentary. So something which we can learn is like to learn, appreciate these Mahajanas and their qualities and how they act as per their real identity. And on the other hand, we see the Yamatudas where they act on the false identity of being the controller. And now Yamaraj is teaching them, okay, no, we are all servants of the Supreme Lord. Okay, with this, I will pause here. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any comments or any critics?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Then, yeah, you have explained very nicely about Yamaraj's role and how he is acting upon Supreme Lord. So, after defeating by Ravana, what is Yamaraj's situation after that? What happened then?
Yeah, basically he was living incognito. All these demigods, pretty much they were living incognito. And see, Ravana is kind of person, once he conquers someone, no, he doesn't care about what that person does. He doesn't like go back and fight with them again. He's already defeated, he is no match for me, so he has already run away, that's it. Okay, they were pretty much living incognito. Even during one time, like it is also said in Ramana, when Ravana was coming, they were like all these demigods were they assembled at one particular forest. For some reason, when Ravana came there to that forest, immediately they all took the form of different birds and species of life. Like, okay, some became peacock, some became like a crow, like that. I don't remember exactly what Yamaraj became like that. So he modified himself to a particular form of a bird or something. That's why each and every one of those birds, which the demigods accepted, since they took that form, they actually gave that benediction to that species of life, to have a particular, for example, peacock. It is not bothered by snakes at all. Okay, there is something on the peacock, and similarly the crow. Similarly, each and living entity, they got a special benediction because these demigods took that form. And because they became one of their category, okay, so they got that additional boon. And finally he came when Lord Ramachandra defeated Ravana. Actually, Yamaraj and all the demigods were there actually to pay obeisances to the Supreme Lord. So that's what. I don't remember anything else described in detail what Yamaraj did after that. If you're asking, okay, did the universal management of punishment went on after that? I don't know.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
One query is running in back of my mind. So, what is the lesson Srila Prabhupada wants to give to all his audience or the class which you gave, the learning from the life of Ajamila? So, what we can learn from him? Why he is described? I've heard many classes on Ajamila. So, what as the devotees we should learn from him? Is there something to learn from him?
Okay. I'll first start with what we should not learn. Okay. So, there was this lecture by Gaurang Prabhu. He also spoke from Ajamil. Okay. At the end of the lecture, there was one end, I think probably he gave it in some youth festival, Prerna Youth Festival. So one very enthusiastic young man rushed to the front to come to appreciate him and congratulate him for speaking on Ajamil pastime and everything. So inspired by Ajamil, he said, okay. Then Prabhu got very curious. What inspiration, like as you asked, okay, what is the lesson? Okay. He asked the counter question rather than you asking me, Gaurang Prabhu asked him, okay, what did you learn from Ajamil? Okay, why you consider him? What is that inspiration from this lecture? He told, from today onwards, Ajamil is my role model, he said, okay. So he was once again surprised, okay, Ajamil role model, because we say Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, all these things. It's not wrong. Second half of Ajamil's life is wonderful. Okay, he can be a role model. I'm not saying he cannot be role model. At least I have not heard anyone named as Ajamil Das, okay, till now. Okay. But he said, okay, what is that? Why Ajamil has to be a role model? Then, pardon my Hindi, okay, I'm from Chennai, so I don't speak that good Hindi. He said, but the punchline comes in Hindi only, okay? He says, why Ajamil is role model? मजा भी किया भगवान के पास भी गया दिस इज द he did all the enjoyment I went back to Godhead. Okay, so he is my role model. This is not something we need to learn from Ajamil's story. Okay, you do all nonsense and then somehow Krishna says neha vikramana sosi pratyavayina vidyate swalpam apesya dharmasya trayate mahatobhat. Little bit of devotional service I will do in this life, sincere devotional service, because Ajamil did in his early life. And somehow Yamadudas will come, Vishnududas will come. Should not depend on that. Okay. Because the gift which our acharyas gave us is not, okay, the gift which they gave us is love of Godhead. And what Srila Prabhupada wants us is, when someone asks, hey, Srila Prabhupada, what pleases you? So, then everybody had an answer in their mind as well. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada like book distribution, Prabhupada like this and that, all those things. Prabhupada gave a very simple answer saying, I want every one of you to become Krishna conscious. That's it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came us to give Krishna Prema, which is not available to anyone prior. Rare gift, the love of Godhead. And we try sincerely, but it's not in our capacity. Okay? But we can sincerely endeavor and pray that by the blessings of the Acharyas and blessings of our spiritual master and the Supreme Person and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we try sincerely. We may falter in our attempts, but our only hope is them. Okay? So, I would say this is how, how mold our life such that we try to remember Krishna at every step. Taking inspiration from Yamaraj, okay? Offering prayers to him as well. Why not? He is such a Mahajana. His heart is so clean and pure. He didn't act on the platform of false ego at all. It was wonderful to see, okay? How it is like such an authority to accept defeat and then just say, okay, it's okay. As long as my superior's words are kept, that's where the like essence lies. If I could please them, my life is successful. It's not about how wonderful service I am doing. It's about how I can be of some service. Even whatever service I get, I do it with the dependence on such personalities. That was his mood. If you can get even by appreciating their qualities, maybe and appreciating such personalities, okay, maybe one day Krishna can also bless us with those qualities. Does it answer? No, I don't know. Okay. I don't know, other devotees are there, maybe they can add. Sadhan Keshav Prabhu, something to add to that, Prabhu? Okay. So there are no more questions, then we can stop here. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. It was a very wonderful class. One of the classes where it took